And joining us now, Navy SEAL, Gold Star mother, Karen Vaughn, been on our show many times. Hey, Karen, good to have you with us.
It is so good to be with you again. Nice to talk to you.
Well, we're fired up about the End Freedom Tour that's going to be finally making its way through the Commonwealth. You guys have been out now for some time because it started on Fox News and Friends in Manhattan about 6 weeks ago. So tell me, just give us an update on it.
I tell you what, we have been rallying the largest crowds since our tour began 4 years ago. People are fired up. They are ready to do something to take this country back, John, and they're coming out by the masses. And not only that, what's really exciting that's happening on this movement, we call it this year, rather than a tour, because it's just honestly turning into a movement. We are having so many people sign up to become active voices. We're giving people a chance to do something with all this frustration, to get this thing turned around before it's too late. We're having hundreds that are signing up for boot camp afterwards to learn how to get involved, so you just can't ask for more than that. And like you said before, Madison Rising is rocking it out. Free concert every night with them and with Ayla Brown. We've had some fascinating people on tour already. Alan West has joined us. In Virginia, Jay Redmond, your very own, will be joining us on every tour stop in Virginia. Anxious to work with him again. It's just been an incredible thing this year. Loving every second of it.
You know what? It is such a fabulous event, and it's really grown, hasn't it? I mean, you guys got to be just amazed with how you've made this thing so successful. Now, how did you hook up, if you can? Just give us a quick history. How did you hook up with Ayla Brown?
I really don't know how they found Ayla. I'm just glad to know her. She showed up on the tour stops last year. I guess somebody at CVA connected with her. Her father was Senator Scott Brown.
Right.
And she's just a true patriot and an amazing young woman. And I've been loving getting to know her, but I really don't know how the connection was initially made. I've never asked that question.
No, I'm not.
But man, has she added something to this tour?
She
wow.
hasn't. I'm not a country music fan. So I can't comment on her singing with authority like I know some others can. But those that are country music fans have told me when I was saying, "Hey, tell me a little about her," they were telling me I got a couple of friends that are big country music fans. They go to Nashville and stuff. They said, "Hey, she is a rising star." No question about it.
She certainly is. She's got a new album that she's just released, Let Love In, and she sings that debut song at every tour stop. But I'm going to tell you something. When Ayla Brown sings the national anthem, you have chills from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. It is so heartfelt. She's such a patriot on top of just being such an incredible vocalist. So, she starts every single tour stop off with that national anthem that is epic. And everybody that's there knows right now, right this second, they're at something very special. And I think she's just been such a tremendous addition to the tour. I'm so blessed to know her and so blessed to be working beside somebody with so much talent.
Well, fantastic. Now, if you would, Karen Vaughn, give us some of the history on how you got involved with Concerned Veterans for America.
Well, my son was Navy SEAL, a member of SEAL Team 6, based there in Virginia, and on August 6, 2011, he was killed in action in the shoot-down of Extortion 17. I know that the people in your area all know what that shoot-down was. We lost 22 members of DevGru on that fateful day and 30 Americans altogether, and it was the largest loss of life in the history of Naval Special Warfare, the largest one-day loss of life in the now almost 14 years of war on terror. And unfortunately, our son was part of that. And in the wake of his death, my husband and I just started kind of getting involved on the national scene of defending our defenders. We came to understand after his death that the rules of engagement were not benefiting our warfighters. They were benefiting our enemy. And we started trying to speak out about that. And CVA, they connected with me about 2 years ago and asked me to join in on the national tour to talk from the perspective of a Gold Star mother who lost her only son. And so I joined the tour, and this is my third Defend Freedom tour across the country now, and I feel so honored every day that I get to fight culturally the battle that my son gave his life for kinetically. I feel like a very blessed woman that I have something to do with this tremendous loss rather than just sit at home and grieve, which unfortunately would have been my fate had it not been for CVA.
Well, Karen, that takes unbelievable courage. I mean, for those of us that, have not lost a child, I just couldn't imagine what you were going through. Even of course, in the news this weekend when Vice President Biden lost his 46-year-old son.
Right.
I couldn't imagine. I just can't even. You almost shut your eyes and think, I couldn't imagine what that would be like, Karen.
It's a horrendous life change. It is actually something that just never gets better. What you learn to do, and I'm praying for the Biden family. I don't know. I used to say I don't even know how my husband feels after Aaron's death because everybody loses a different person. These children of ours, they're so different to each one of us. So our loss is so personal. So I would never say that I know how the Bidens feel right now, but I do understand the incredible grief of burying a child, and I'm so sorry for their family and wish them so much peace. And I pray, that God is just wrapping his arms around that family right now and giving them the same kind of comfort that he offered us after Aaron's death. You never get over burying a child. You simply learn to cope with that tremendous loss and know that one day I'll be with him again in heaven, and that is my only hope. That's the only thing that gets me up in the morning, for sure.
And so, Karen, as you look at what's going on internationally now with ISIS and the disaster that's just going on in Iraq, I mean, it's such a disaster. The officers abandoning their leadership. Once again, Iraqi soldiers running away at the first sign in the middle of trouble. This has been an ongoing issue. Our equipment ending up in the hands of the enemy again. This just keeps happening over and over and over. I mean, do you ever get a sense of frustration over it?
I tell you, I can't even express. My voice usually gets high-pitched when I talk about this, John, because I cannot express the level of frustration I feel. I have pictures of Aaron in several key spots in Iraq when we conquered that vile habitual terrorism that was that I don't even know how to put this in words. We won Iraq, and to see this administration snatch defeat from the jaws of victory when so much treasure was spent, so much blood and so much money and so much pain and so much strength and so much grief and so much power and energy was given to this victory, to watch it fall and to have this blasé, complacent attitude by this administration is such a kick in the gut. I remember when Tikrit fell, I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for me or anything, but I literally just went to bed. I got up that morning, heard about it, and I went back to bed because it literally was that painful to hear about. And so, as we watch all this effort be diminished by weak-willed leaders who will not win, who will not finish the job there, it's almost more than a mom can take who's buried their son in this effort. Yes.
I appreciate your candor, Karen, and I'm sure your frustration is shared by many moms and dads and siblings and wives who have lost their loved ones. And you just look at the disaster going on there now, and there's absolutely no leadership and no end in sight. And we keep going down the same path and expecting a different result. And I had Senator Mark Warner on the other day, and he rarely gets animated in this kind of stuff, and he got really upset. And he said right on the air, he's like, at some point you just have to say this is a disaster, and you got to find a different program. And he says, why are we fighting for a country that won't even fight for themselves?
And that's the key question. How long are we going to? And I remember when we went into Iraq. I believed, and I still believe, that it was a good war. I'm not going to be one of those wishy-washy people that just because my son lost his life, I changed my opinion about the validation of that war in both Iraq and Afghanistan. It needed to be fought. But what we need to do as Americans is we need to have the integrity that if we decide to send our sons and daughters to war, we freaking decide to win the war, not just send people to sacrifice their lives and then cave to an enemy. And, as Alan West says so well, he says, you know what leading from behind is called? It's called following. And America has never been a nation that should be following the lead of terrorists. And here's what we've got. At every single tour stop, I tell people what my son died for, the American dream he believed in, but then I always end by saying what he didn't die for. And my final point is this, and it's relevant still today, unfortunately, and that's my son didn't fight night after night, after hellishly pitch black nights, chasing after and capturing terrorists that were hell-bent on destroying everything we know, love, and hold dear in this nation, only to watch his commander-in-chief turn 5 of them loose in exchange for a traitor. And, now we hear these 5 are getting their walking papers, and these 5 have American blood. Friends of mine's son, his blood is on their hands, and we turned them loose. And, I think this is intolerable for Americans, and something has got to change. And that's why I do what I do. I want to be that voice. I want to use what happened to me. I want to use my son's sacrifice to reinforce the values and principles he lived and died for. And that's what I'm trying to do. Yes, it's enough. Enough is enough. What we need in Washington, D.C. is leadership. That's what we need. We must demand it. Something's got to change immediately. I don't even know that we can make it till fall of 2016 for something to change. We got to get something done up there.
We got to get something done right now, and I think, Karen Vaughn, you hit the nail on the head. If we're going to fight a war, win it. We had a congressman from California, Tom McClintock, on our show yesterday, and he basically said the same thing as did Mark Warner, who just said that the other day. If we're going to have a war, let's go have a war, wipe them out. Otherwise, let's get the hell out of there. And I think that's where we are right now. What we're doing is just ridiculous, and it's not fair to the men and women who are dying, coming home maimed, and we have no policy. And either we go in and we win and we do it the right way, like we did in World War II, or we just go home and say, you know what, you all can figure it out. We've had enough. Karen Vaughn for being with us, Navy SEAL Gold Star mom from Concerned Veterans for America. Now.